The International Court of Justice is demanding Israel do all it can to avoid acts of genocide in its war with Hamas. Judges in The Hague are considering a case brought forward by South Africa which alleges that Israel is committing genocide against Palestinians. Israel had hoped to get the case thrown out, but it could take years to get a final ruling.
On the whole, this will be seen by South Africa, who brought the case, and its supporters as a victory. They didn't get everything that they wanted or asked for. In particular, the court did not rule that there should be an immediate ceasefire, but perhaps privately the South Africans always felt that that might be a step too far. But the court, in its ruling, which took I'd say between half an hour and 40 minutes, was very damning of some aspects of the war in Gaza. It said that the situation there is catastrophic and at serious risk of deterioration. It said that Israeli steps in order to try and alleviate some of that had been insufficient, and the risk of irreparable harm to the Palestinian people in Gaza and to Gaza itself is plausible, and essentially it refused Israel's request to throw this out completely. And I think importantly for Israel, a country that of course was born out of the worst genocide in history, the court has kept open the process to investigate the claims of genocide against Israel further. Now, that, we should say, is not something that the court ruled on today, and it could take many months, possibly even years, and might actually never proceed much further. But it will sit very heavily on the Israeli people. So it has laid down some rulings that it expects Israel to comply by. For example, it has asked Israel to allow more basic humanitarian aid like food, water and medicine supplies to get into Gaza. It has also told Israel that it must prevent any future statements that might be interpreted as inciting genocide. And I think that was a particular reference to, well, in particular, some of the more right-wing politicians in the Israeli government, but also the senior judge, read out statements that have been made by the president, Isaac Herzog, and by the defense minister, Yoav Gallant. The Israelis don't recognize, historically, the jurisdiction of the ICJ. They're not a member of the ICJ, but they fought this very hard. They put together a very strong legal team to fight their case, and so I think it'll be very hard as a result for them to entirely ignore it. Will it have an immediate impact on the direction of the war? I don't think so. The fighting in Gaza is as fierce today as it has been really for many months. The Israelis have encircled the second city of Khan Yunis, and they are closing in on Hamas cells there. But I'm sure the Israeli government, the security cabinet, and the IDF will be very mindful now of what the ICJ said today as they continue to prosecute the war in Gaza, and they will have to consider their actions in the context of what the ICJ had to say today.